All right, what's going on, guys? Farzy Masugian here with you at halftime as the Chiefs are getting whooped in this one. But hey, that's what happens when you have a bunch of backups playing in this one. Obviously, there are some positives here. Carson Steele, really the only one. 4 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown run there. Almost had a 32-yard touchdown run, but they took it away. He ended up running it in anyway. This guy's looked really good in the preseason so far. He's got, 8 carries for 79 yards in those 2 games, the first game and the third game that he's been playing a lot of. They didn't play much running back in the second game. They kind of let some of the other running backs take some playing time there. But I like what I'm seeing from Carson Steele. And Brett Veach said this on the Chiefs radio network. He makes it easy for the team when they're trying to do the roster cuts there. So I think that's a ringing endorsement that Carson Steele is going to make the 53-man roster for the Chiefs for sure. As far as Oladokin goes, man, he didn't look bad last week, and this week the complete opposite, throwing 2 picks, one in the end zone, and then the other one on a terrible read there, going for a pick 6. He telegraphed both of those passes. That's how bad it was. And then on the play before that, where he's running around and goes out of bounds for no gain and took up all that time in a 2-minute situation. But again, he's the third string guy, so no need to harp on him too much for all of that. Yeah, a lot of you guys are pretty excited about Carson Steele. He's looking really good. Obviously, that's going to be an interesting one right there. I've always said that he is like the backup version of Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, that's just what I see in him. Isaiah Pacheco goes there, runs angry, and Carson Steele really does the exact same thing. I think what Carson Steele does, he just does a better job with the stiff arm, whereas Pacheco just invites the physical contact and is just impossible to take down, even though defenders are trying to wrap up around him. And I think a lot of people are saying the whole situation with him being a starter, fullback situation. I'm very interested to see what a Chiefs offensive lineup looks like when you have Travis Kelce as your tight end, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice as your 2 starters to open up the season, since Hollywood Brown's going to be out, and then you have Isaiah Pacheco and Carson Steele there. That's your I formation look with the Chiefs. Or maybe in a strong formation, or maybe even a weak side. That's a pretty good group of players right there. So I'm very curious to see how that offense would look when they're lined up like that. Yeah, it's the preseason. Mahomes does not make that throw 99 times out of 100. Just doesn't. A lot of starting quarterbacks in the NFL don't make that throw. Let me just say this, because I've been kind of picking on this guy, especially all week long. He's not having an amazing game, but I think if there's one receiver that's actually not looking too bad today, it's Kadarius Toney, crazy enough. He went out there, had a 20-yard catch, getting a first down, and then had another 6-yard reception there. He beat those defensive backs, and the defensive back for the Bears barely got a hand on the ball, just tipping it away. And if that ball sneaks through and gets to Kadarius Toney is jogging for a touchdown there. I mean, he does not need to go full speed, because then that defender that was trying to dive for the ball, he's going to get in the way of his teammate. And Kadarius Toney is going to have an easy time scoring there, turning around and getting in. So, yeah, Charlie says was hoping for a touchdown on that tip pass. Yeah, he was right there. You couldn't really do much more than that. I think Oladokin took a little bit too long to get the ball to him. Is Ian Book playing the second half? Because if Ian Book's playing the second half, good luck. Okay, I do got to address the Creed Humphrey thing, because in the pregame live chat, we were just discussing that. What could the future hold for guys like Hunter Norzad and CJ Hansen? And it would depend on what's going on with the Chiefs when it comes to trying to extend Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. We learned at the beginning of the month that the Chiefs are trying very hard to keep those guys and lock them up to long-term deals before the regular season kicks off. Well, they got Creed Humphrey. I know it's not official yet, but Brevich pretty much confirmed it in his interview on the TV broadcast there. I think he was a little surprised that that this was brought up. So I get that. But yeah, I love it. Listen, I know a lot of people talking about Creed's low snaps. He had, I think, like 3 of them in the postseason. Obviously, not the right time to have that, but overall body of work. Creed, what has Creed Humphrey done bad during his time with the Chiefs? I mean, this guy's always been consistently a top center in the NFL, and if he's not the best, the past couple of years, people have said it's 1A Jason Kelce and 1B Creed Humphrey. And now that Jason Kelce's retired, this guy is the clear standout top center in the NFL. And a lot of people were surprised too, because the Chiefs do have a history of not paying good centers. Remember, they drafted the guy from Mizzou, Mitch Morse. He was drafted as a tackle, converted to center, and he was amazing from the get-go. Rodney Hudson played some interior offensive line. The Chiefs decided not to retain him. He went on elsewhere to the Raiders, the Cardinals, and has played very well since leaving Kansas City. But the Chiefs have had some good luck with those guys at the center position. Yeah, Jim saying Tony doing better than expected. I do want to go to this comment here from Robert. He says, "Where's this Tony been? If Tony plays like this in the future," and again, I know there are a lot of backups on the field, but if you're Kadarius Tony, you have to start somewhere. If this is the Kadarius Tony we get on the field where he can go out there and get wide open, now you got to find a way to pull in those catches there, those passes that are coming to you. Yeah, I mean, this is the Kadarius Tony I would love to have forever and ever in Kansas City, for sure. He's averaging 13 yards a catch. He, for a guy with his speed, he had a ridiculously, embarrassingly low yard per catch average last year. I think it was like barely over 5 yards, which for a receiver, that's just bad. For a receiver of his skill set, just very surprised. Yeah, a lot of you guys talking about Creed Humphrey and just the extension there. I like him. Hudson was kind of an underrated guy, I feel like, during his time in Kansas City. I was really bummed out when he left Kansas City, but they got Mitch Morse. He went on to Buffalo. And the Chiefs got Creed Humphrey. You just don't get lucky every 3 years. We're just going to let this center go and draft another one. I mean, it just felt like this was the right time to go ahead and pay a center, something the Chiefs had historically not done in recent memory, but they were able to do it this time. So I'm excited. I like it. Rick says Tony is going to make the team. Brown is going to be out a couple of weeks if Rice gets suspended. Yeah. Rice is not getting suspended, at least not this year. Brittany says September 5th feels like a year from now. In 2 weeks, you're going to say, okay, and then within the next 14 days, you're going to complain that it's going by so slow. And then when September 5th comes, you're going to say, oh, wow, went by really fast. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. They're getting ready to come back. Enjoy the rest of the game. We're going to have a very short post-game podcast. Not going to get into it too much. Tomorrow, around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, we won't do a Red Friday live chat. We'll do another Chiefs Zone podcast. I will give you my 53-man roster tomorrow on the podcast. All of that. Talk to you all after the game. Enjoy the rest of the game.